Star Wars Young Jedi Knights. Return to Ord Mantell, Chapter 10. After a strangely restless night populated by images of unbearably sad eyes and flowing hair, dark hair streaked with blonde, Jason woke to find his sister standing beside him, beside the cushioned pallet on which he slept. She tossed a clean jumpsuit at him. Time to get up, sleepyhead. We want to get an early start. Jason, groggy from his lack of rest, blinked at her. For what? Just then, Anakin appeared in the doorway, a travel satchel slung over one shoulder. I am all packed, he announced. For a fact-finding mission to Anubis, Jaina explained. Mom thought it was a good idea. She sent data transmission this morning of everything the New Republic knows about the planet and the Civil War. Unfortunately, it's not much. The impact of the sister's words finally sank in, and Jason came fully awake. Untangling himself from the cushions and blankets, he leapt to his feet. Where's Dad now? Went down to the docking bay to start pre-flight checks on the Falcon, Jaina said. We leave in less than an hour, Jason, if you're ready, Anakin said, running over a skeptical eye over his older brother. Zeke, Lowy, and Tenel Ka are already there waiting. As he scrambled to get dressed, Jason felt miraculously energetic. They were going to do something to help Anja's planet, he thought. Maybe they could find a way to banish the sadness from her eyes forever. The young Jedi Knights were going on a rescue mission, just like the ones Tiana used to tell about from Jedi legends. He flashed his siblings a cheerful grin. Don't worry, I'll be ready. By the time Jason reached the docking bay, Anakin was already at work in the navigational controls, and Jaina was examining its external sublight engines. Tenel Ka, Zeke, and Lowy were gathered around Han Solo, getting briefed about the upcoming mission. Seeing Jason, Han gestured for him to join the other young Jedi Knights. So if this planet is torn up from the war, as Anja says it is, he concluded, we might need a few extra helping hands. I think we should stick together on the Falcon, though. Get plenty of room, and there's less chance of running into trouble if we don't slip up. Jaina looked up from her work on the sublight engines. What about the Rock Dragon, she protested. Han glanced at the Haven passenger cruiser. I think we can station an extra guard or two here without much difficulty. Tenel Ka's lips curled in a hard smile. And the vessel has its own security systems. Indeed, yes, EMTD said, and they are most efficient. I had a fine conversation with them just this morning. That's settled then. Han clapped his hands and began giving out assignments. Jason was glad to know that all of his friends would be coming along. They worked well as a team, and he had no doubt they could handle anything that happened on Anubis. He had no sooner begun the task of examining the lower hull than a familiar figure sauntered into the docking bay. She held herself straight and proud, and her dark curl-streaked hair trailed behind her like a trail of a comet. Well, hey, what are you doing here, Anja? Jason asked, trying not to sound brash, if not outright rude. He felt himself turn bright red with embarrassment as she realized his blunder. The young woman seemed not to notice. She bent to look at him beneath the Falcon's hull, her big eyes serious. After what happened yesterday, I wanted to make sure your ship had come to no harm. Hey, that's kind of a coincidence, Jason said. He started to stand to get a better look at her, but only succeeded in smacking his head on the belly of the Falcon. He quickly ducked down again. What I mean is, we're all on our way to Anubis to help your people, like you suggested. Anja cocked her head slightly as she digested this information, then shrugged it as if it were more than she had expected. I'm on my way back there myself. Hey, Jason, don't forget to check those rear struts when you're finished, his father's voice called from inside. Dad? Jason called back. Do we have room for another passenger? Depends who. Han jumped off the ramp to land beside his ship, and his question ended with a wordless whistle of surprise. Anja needs to go to Anubis too, Jason hastily explained, seeing the strained look that passed between his father and Galandro's daughter. Anja backed away from the Falcon, drew herself into a full height, and folded her slender arms across her chest. Her attention remained on Han Solo while Jason continued. I thought maybe we could give her a ride. She can probably show us the safest places to land, maybe even introduce us to a few important people. His father returned the girl's challenging stare. Would you be willing to do that? Anja gave a curt nod. Maybe not to help you, but help my people, yes. Han gave her a hard look, as if he didn't quite trust her motives. All right, you're welcome on the Falcon, then. You can tell us more about your planet's war once we're underway. Jason listened with fascination as Anja recounted the tale of strife that had been raging among the people for decades, since the days of the Empire. And so, Anja continued, the people of the valley who worked on all the rich farmlands declared a war on the mountain people simply because we traded with the Empire. They stopped trading with us or selling us food. What else could we do? She looked earnestly around a circle of listeners. In the mountains, we had no way of making a living except with our mining. If we didn't agree to trade with the Empire, the Imperials would have come and taken the raw materials from us by force. And we had very few herd beasts and no croplands. We would have starved. Seeing the skepticism on the faces of his father and his sister, Jason could not help come to Anja's defense. The valley people should have been helping you. After all, it wasn't a crime just to trade the Empire. A lot of current members of the New Republic did that. Anja gave a sad sigh and nodded. Not only did our farmers declare war on us, they also sabotaged our mines by booby-trapping the tunnels. They continue to do so even today. The tunnels collapse, our people are killed, and the work becomes more difficult. Yeah, well, there are two sides to every story, kid, Han said. Maybe more than two. Jason thought about the story his father had told Anja about Galandro's death, and what he had told Jason, Jane, and Anakin the night before. He wondered if there might be more than two sides to that story as well. We're on a fact-finding mission here, Han went on, and we'd like to get the story from as many points of view as we can before we decide how the New Republic can help. Anja gave him a haughty look. Of course, I just hope you know the truth when you hear it. Jason wondered.